Welcome to Fast Effect Double Speed Magic the Gathering from ELD's Time Vault Games in Bellingham, Mass. Here we have Matt on a Bug Zenith list versus another Matt on Dragon Stompy. Matt Mangano and Matt Kiefer. Magus of the Moon coming in. Though Basic Force on the other side could actually be a little bit of a savior here. Green Sun Zenith for Birds of Paradise. And just like that, Zenith has access to every color in Magic. 2 damage coming in. And now a third mountain. Simian Spirit Guide enabling this turn 1 Blood Moon, shutting off all of the Zenith list's fetch lands, but a basic forest proving to be a super problematic card. And now Chalice at 1. Of course, that would not have stopped the Birds of Paradise as it was found with a Green Sun Zenith. Sylvan Library, a card that loses a little bit of its luster without having the shuffle effect from fetch lands, but again, that Green Sun Zeniths could shuffle the library, so this is actually anybody's game. Most lists would just fold to a turn 1 Magus of the Moon in the majority of their games. I think this is actually a little bit of a selling point. Here, actually 2 basic forests, and now 4 mana for a natural order. And what horrors might we see here? What type of gigantic green menace? Just a Progenitus. So a 2-turn clock here for Matt. He can't really afford to swing into this, I don't imagine. This is quite bad for Dragon Stompy. Usually their game plan is to prevent 10/10s with protection from everything from entering the battlefield. It has failed to do that despite having a turn 1 Blood Moon and a Chalice of the Void shortly after. And this is feeling like a infomercial for this Bug Zenith list. And Matt gonna scoop it up there in the face of Progenitus. Just too strong there. Turn 1 Blood Moon effect. No biggie. Just going to get a permanent with 2 of every mana symbol on it onto the battlefield by like turn 4. It's fine. Legacy is amazing. What a cool format. Natural order, just one of the cards that this list shares with elves. But you pick up a lot of other tools, adding in the blue and the black. Of course, many of the elves lists are actually green, black, Abrupt Decay, Assassin's Trophy, some discard effects, all very common out of the elves sideboard. But blue gives you access to many of the best cards in Magic. And I'd imagine Oko here as well. Natural order, and elves would typically get a Craterhoof Behemoth, possibly a Archon of Valor's Reach. And Matt's going to be looking for another turn 1 Blood Moon. Can't be deterred despite the outcome of that. It's typically going to be good enough, replacing one of his sleeves. Turn 1 Chalice, also very solid. But again, this Green Sun Zenith does add that 1 extra green to the casting cost of all the creatures, so it's going to be pretty well impossible to snare anything aside from, the Dryad Arbor turn 1 play. We got a pair of Force of Wills in Matt's hand, giving him a little bit of extra confidence to face the day. Elvish Spirit Guide. And Matt actually fetching out a Bayou, interestingly enough. Perhaps because of the Force of Will. I gotta say, if I was in Matt's shoes, I would have strongly considered... Oh, because it's a polluted Delta. Yeah, getting a basic Force there would have been super sweet. Unfortunately, he does need to expend a Force of Will on this Magus of the Moon. It would have been fantastic if he could have just ignored that card. And another Birds of Paradise. Another argument for Prismatic Vista. I'm actually considering whether or not to run Vista in my Cephalid Breakfast list. Just basic lands on those first couple of turns can be so crucial right now in Legacy, not getting set back by Wasteland or blown out by Blood Moon effects. Couple of Birds of Paradise, and it looks like an Abrupt Decay. And now Imperial Recruiter is going to grab a Phyrexian Revoker. That's going to be a significant setback, shutting off both Birds of Paradise. So Matt's going to have to be careful with his mana. He'll actually just keep all of it open. So Revoker's going to hit. He's going to have to respond. Oh, I guess that was a Progenitus, not an Abrupt Decay? Oh, I'm going out of frame there. He actually Force of Will's pitching Progenitus to stop the Revoker. Thought he was going to be floating some mana in response to Revoker, just so he could Abrupt Decay, but I may have misread his hand. And now Brainstorm. The card Chalice decks do not like seeing Resolve. That's a big part of the reason to run Chalice of the Void. Another damage chipping in with this Imperial Recruiter. Not enough to really force Matt to do anything to open himself up. Looks like an Ice Fang Coatl is in hand. He can actually just afford to take that 1 damage from the Recruiter. Rather do that than tap out. And now Karn. Ooh. We may be headed to Game 3 shortly. Let's see what he grabs. He's going to grab a Liquimetal Coating and start to go after Matt's mana base. And it was actually an Abrupt Decay. Alright, so he ended up Force of Willing pitching Progenitus previously and saved the Abrupt Decay for later. I would have sequenced that differently. I would have used the Abrupt Decay first because it's the harder of the two to deal with. Ice Fang Coatl getting flashed in. This is going to take down the Imperial Recruiter, but this Umezawa's Jitte is going to get a couple of counters anyways. And now Matt's set back to just 2 mana. Flashing in another Ice Fang. I believe this clears the Karn now. He's searched twice, and that is in fact the case. And now a Green Sun Zenith for 1. Likely to be another Birds of Paradise. Oh, a Noble Hierarch. Even better for the most part. Going to be able to swing for 2 at a time here with the Ice Fang Coatl if he's going to be going aggro. That's kind of the best case scenario for Zenith here, is no more creatures. Any one of these creatures becomes a real monster with Umezawa's Jitte, and now there's going to be more than one of them. This equipment is going to be a big problem. Walking Ballista shows up, takes out the Noble Hierarch. Ice Fang Coatls looking like he'll be next. Green Sun Zenith for 1. Not entirely clear what he might be getting from here. Both Walking Ballista and Umezawa's Jite have a lot of potential interaction with anything he could be getting for 1. He actually opts to get a Dryad Arbor. Matt's feeling like sacrificing this Imperial Recruiter. And with Karn in hand, very close to just dropping Karn plus Mycosynth Lattice. Count left on Jit. And there is the Mycosynth Lattice. It's going to be now or never. Collector Oof. Hilarious. So that's going to stop Walking Ballista and Umezawa's Jite. And if Matt drops this Mycosynth Lattice, then he is also locked out of the game. Hilarious counterplay here from Bug. Does he have an answer that he can get? Like a Glass Slipper is often there in the white lists. Glass Slipper nice because it actually does take out something like Collector if you don't have to play it and activate it. I am not sure why that Jit is tapped. You got 2 at the Karn. Tarmogoyf now, who's going to be at least a 5/6. And Collector Oof. Another one of those cards that this Zenith list can run. Having a toolbox, being able to search out any green creature with Green Sun Zenith or Natural Order. I am liking this list. Seasoned Pyromancer. That's going to discard 2. Matt pivoting away from any hopes of Mycosynth Lattice. Chalice of the Void coming in with 1 counter on it. This Collector Oof has got to go for Dragon Stompy to get back into this game. It may be time to start casting some monkeys. Once upon a time. Simian Spirit Guides. And Elvish Spirit Guides. Potentially valid uses. He's actually saved those to get some extra spirit tokens. Discarding 2, drawing 2. Looks like another Magus. Is in hand. Really interesting back and forth game here. Karn plussing. One line we may see here with Karn is getting Tormod's crypt to be able to crypt himself to then be able to wish for the Mycosynth Lattice again. Of course, that all hinges on getting this Collector Oof off the board somehow. Can't quite make out those cards. The die on the one to the left makes me think that it's a Tarmogoyf. A little bit of glare with our new setup. We've been playing around with our floor plan as we had 63 players here for our last team trio event. We just had a 42-person stomp. Sorry, we had a 42-person unified legacy, which was awesome. I'm sure I'll get that to another video. This one looks like it's going to pick up pretty quick here. Stomp, getting rid of Collector's Oof means business is about to pick up. Got Walking Ballistas that can start getting counters. A bunch of chump blockers. Makes this a really difficult situation for Goyfs to get through. And Jit can actually be passed back and forth. And sending with the entire team. Oh, he turned the Jit into a creature with the Karn. So it's actually lethal damage, it looks like. So going on to game number 3. Karn's a team player there, just creating a little bit of extra damage with his plus ability. We'll see what this Zenithless does on the play. Doesn't have to worry about a turn 1 Blood Moon stopping his fetch lands. Takes a lot of pressure off of the mulligan decision. You have plenty of good hands with like a couple of fetch lands, some good stuff, and when you're playing against a deck like Dragon Stompy, if you don't have a Force of Will, it may mean you don't even get to play Magic that game unless you're on the play. If you're on the draw and they just jam that turn 1 Blood Moon effect and you don't have a Force of Will or a basic land in hand, that is very often going to mean that you have 0 decisions to be making from that point forward. So those mulligans, very important. And I've been loving the new mulligan rule. Definitely makes all of the decks better than they previously were. And Matt looks like he's got a little bit of mana, so that's going to be enough. Misty Rainforest. Is that a Gilded Goose? It looks like a Gilded Goose. Once upon a time, and Throne of Eldraine has officially invaded the legacy on the channel here. Of course, we've seen Oko a bunch. Seen a little bit of Once Upon a Time, but Gilded Goose, a little bit deeper of a cut. Phyrexian Revoker. Matt not willing to get buried by this goose without a fight. And gonna jam a turn 1 Phyrexian Revoker. Stopping the goose. And a Chalice at 1 off of a couple of Spirit Guides. That hits a Force of Will, so Matt not willing to fight over this goose situation, but instead saving his force for a more potent card like Chalice. However, Dragon Stompy has another copy. Three basic lands on board, so Blood Moon not even going to be a consideration here. Probably be better off imprinted on a Chrome Mox at this point. Ice Fang Coatl coming in, blocking that Phyrexian Revoker, and that feels like this Goose could actually start to carry some serious weight. I need to check the text. I'm pretty sure it makes a food each turn for only 2 mana. Never actually sleeved the card up. I did have it in the pre-release a couple of times. Yeah, 2 mana, so going to be able to crank out food each turn. With an Oko, that could be a stream of 3/3s. Chrome Mox and printing Once Upon a Time, and casting now Once Upon a Time. Finding, looks like at least a Magus, which is not very much. It's actually pretty terrible here. It'll also set Matt back 2 mana. At least the Chrome Mox is on green, so we'll have red and green mana. Feels pretty bad. Oh, and that looks like a questing beast. Is that what that is? That's why his life total is so low? Goose, end of turn, making a food. Yeah, it is a questing beast. So Matt now all the way down to 2. Combination of his Ancient Tomb and this questing beast doming him each turn. It's going to be very difficult to block that. Certainly not going to do it with Magus of the Moon. We're going to see a Stomp and now a Hardcast Force preventing the Stomp, and it looks like another Throne of Eldraine card. Going to be the one actually crossing the finish line. Questing beast taking Matt down with haste. That is all for this one, but don't worry, there is a lot more. You can check out our older videos, and we're always putting out new videos from ELD's Time Vault Games in Bellingham, Massachusetts. If you want to help the channel, of course, you can like, subscribe, share, tap that notification bell so you can know the next time our new videos come out. Thanks for watching.